Oh, the streets are cold and gray, but the fire in our hearts won't stray from the pitch where dreams collide. We'll stand together side by side. Oh, when the Spurs go march.
Hi everybody, Gary Ward at Project Spurs here. Just wanting to come on this morning, just talk a little bit about my views in and around the football club at the moment, transfer updates, mostly loans going out of the football club as we're aware, nothing incoming as of yet. There's been a couple of rumours, one that seems to be more concrete than anything else, so we'll cover that as well. But looking ahead at tonight's game against Bournemouth in the Premier League and some comments that Thomas Frank has made in his press conference yesterday. Obviously, Thomas Frank's clearly under pressure. He's under pressure with a large amount of our fan base, rightfully so as well. I do believe that. I'm not a Thomas Frank out or anything like that. I think that we definitely need some patience there. Thomas is under a great amount of pressure, as I say, from our fan base. And I listen to a lot of podcasts, not only Tottenham podcasts from the community. I listen to football podcasts in general, the BBC, a lot of the athletic stuff on the continent, loads of different podcasts. And every time Thomas Frank is brought up, the general gist and the general agreement in all of those is that, yes, he's under a huge amount of pressure, but he might not be the right man for the job. Now, I get and understand those arguments and agreements, and in some senses I do agree with it. However, yesterday, Thomas was asked in his press conference if he's feeling like he's getting a lot of patience from Vinay Venkatesham, obviously the Tottenham CEO. Vinay was at Arsenal and was part of the process to bring Mikel Arteta to Arsenal, and quite famously for the first couple of years, relatively struggled with positive results or winning anything, and that ultimately is what managers are judged on. And not only did the Arsenal heritage and Vinay back him in the transfer market, both in and out, they gave him more patience to keep growing the club and growing the team on the pitch. And they are reaping those rewards right now. Being patient with a manager, they are reaping those rewards. They are top of the table, as we all know, arguably one of the best teams football-wise in Europe. And Thomas Frank was asked yesterday in his press conference if he believes Vinay Venkatesham is being more patient with him like Mikel Arteta. He said, no doubt about that. Plus, he knows what good looks like and how, unfortunately, it can take time to get up to where good should look like. That's definitely beneficial because he understands the journey we're on. I'm interested by those comments because I don't see that as a vote of confidence. The club haven't come out and said those things. Thomas is himself. I suspect behind the scenes he is being backed, obviously, by Vinay. I feel like perhaps there are others not happy with him, happy with the results, but patience is key. And we've seen recently, obviously, Enzo Maresca being released of his duties at Chelsea. He won the World Club Cup and the Conference League 6 months ago. You've got Ruben Amorim that's left Manchester United. That I thought they were looking better, but clearly I think his comments led to obviously his dismissal there. And Pep Guardiola said today that there's just not patience for managers. Most managers are getting about 18 months. You can't do a lot in 18 months. Think about a general job that you're in. You're not going to be the best at that in 18 months. You might be pretty good, but you're not going to be the best. And I get where Thomas's head's probably at the moment. I understand that. I think that it's torn behind the scenes as much as it is in our fan base. You've got a lot of people calling for his head. And understandably, as I said, you've got a lot of people saying that we need patience. And I'm kind of in the middle. I'm very torn on that. However, when you look at things a little bit more, and you step back, it's probably the best way. I don't think he's got the tools to work with. Last season, obviously, Ange was very, very good at getting us a goal, but couldn't keep the ball out of the net. But that was amidst of a defensive crisis. This season, we've had more of an attacking crisis, but we have spent money. We have spent money on Mohamed Kudus, that unfortunately now is injured. We spent money on Xavi Simons, that has really struggled to get going. It's showed some promise, and then obviously gets himself sent off and misses 3 games. Haven't replaced Heung-min Son, and then we lost Dominic Solanke to a long-term injury, and we brought Kolo Muani in, and we've kind of used Kolo in 3 different positions, a number 9, and then both on the wings, and he's not exactly hit the ground running either. But behind them, we're a little better defensively in our structure in most games. Some games when we get it wrong, we really get it wrong. I can't keep coming to the same conclusion of we haven't replaced Song, and we haven't got Maddison, we haven't got Kulusevski, and we haven't got Solanke. I can't keep giving that as an excuse. But the club is light in key areas, and attacking is one of them. Defensively is another, especially on the left side, left back. Obviously, Ben Davies played excellent at the weekend, I thought. However, we are short there. We are heavily linked with Souza from Santos, 19-year-old, very good player that I haven't seen a huge amount of games. I watch as much of highlights as I can find in Brazil, Premier Sports being one of the places on YouTube. You can find that for like Argentinian football as well. I've seen a lot of him. Tall, quick, good on the ball, quite physical, makes good decisions moving forward. Something we could probably do quite well with, and maybe similar to Ndogi as well. We had an £8 million bid rejected by all accounts from reports in Brazil. It's come out sort of late-ish last night that he wants to join the club. Obviously, he's also followed the club on Instagram, so that kind of shows to me that he's definitely keen on coming. The Brazilian league's on a break now. They've just finished their league. Santos just escaped relegation, actually. Neymar, I think, scored a hat-trick on the final game to save them. But he wants to join the club. 8 million is not a huge amount. They want more. I think they want around 15 to 17. Let's go and pay that. I think we signed Ndogi for maybe 15, 20 million. So it's not a huge difference. So obviously, it's a better league he's coming from in terms of Serie A. But let's get him in. He's got a Brazilian team, Brazilian friend potentially with him anyway in London, being Richarlison. So that will help. But let's go and get him. Let's shore up that left side a little bit. Let's get some cover in there. Ben Davies is there as well. We've got Ndogi coming back. Obviously, Jed Spence can play that. I think Jed needs to go on that right-hand side. While I'm a huge fan of Pedro Porro, I am real fan of his. We are running him into the ground. And I think that's what we did with Mohamed Kudus, and there's that muscular injury that's come. Mohamed Kudus, by all accounts, is going to be out for around 2 to 3 months, which is devastating, really. I'm a big fan of his. I think he's got a lot of promise, a lot of qualities for us, but we've run him into the ground because we don't have a lot of options on that left-hand side. However, on that left-hand side, I'd love to have seen more of Matisse Tell up to what we've seen now. I thought at the weekend he looked very, very bright. He looked someone that wanted the ball at every opportunity, especially in that first half. He was on my side. I sit just in front of the press area, so I get a really good view. He was demanding the ball at every opportunity, and when he was getting it, he was trying to take on his man, and that's what we need. We need that on that left-hand side, like we're seeing from Mohamed Kudus. Unfortunately, he's now injured, and it's sod's law that we've just sold Brennan Johnson, that would have been a perfect replacement. So it's difficult times at the club at the moment. We're in the January transfer window, as we know. We're 7 days in. There's no incomings as of yet. But Thomas Frank was asked about his thoughts on Daniel Levy not operating the transfer process this window. He said, my experience is very limited. As I understood, here's the one that was signing off and negotiating the final bits with transfers. He will not do that now. That would be more down to Johan Lange and Fabio Paratici doing that job. We have a good recruitment side with the numbers behind it, looking at the players and taking us in the right direction. It's then down to Joanne and Fabio to do the job with the agents and get the deals done. That's the biggest difference. Interesting, I find those comments is again about Fabio Paratici being at the football club. There's been so many reports that he's not going to be at the football club and he's moving to Fiorentina. Gone a little bit quiet there. Suspect they're potentially doing a compensation package. Maybe doesn't want to leave the club light in certain areas before he goes. You've got Radu Dragishin that's been linked with a number of clubs in Italy, Fiorentina being one of them. Obviously, Mano Solomon has gone to Fiorentina on loan with an option. Is Fabio Paratici kind of working with both? Who knows? Don't think that's legal or even possible to be done. We need Fabio Paratici at the football club, especially for negotiations. I'm not sure how much I trust Joanne Lang to get a lot of deals over the line. Is he going to be very similar to Daniel Levy? I'm not so sure. Interesting to see where we go. I think this week is huge, this coming week. Tonight's game is massive, not only for us as a fan base, but the club where we are in the Premier League. We can move up to 7th or 8th. But I think it's huge for Thomas Frank as well. Will that patience continue if we lose today? And if we exit the FA Cup at the weekend, is that patience still going to be there? I'm interested to see that next week, if we make a couple of good signings, that patience is definitely being shown to the public and not just by comments made by Thomas Frank. So apprehensive where things are at the moment, especially in the next sort of 7 to 10 days, because we need some recruitment in now. For me, Adamola Lookman is crying out to be purchased. He's crying out to be can play in the number of positions that we need, left, right, can play in a 10 as well. Obviously playing very well in the AFCON at the moment. He's not going to be able to come in straight away, but he can come in January. He to me is perfect for what we need. It doesn't stump the growth of a Mikey Moore when he comes back in the summer. Doesn't stop either that once we get Kulichevsky and Madison back, he has the opportunity. He has the versatility to play in a number of positions. So for me, again, Adamola Lookman would be perfect. I have been calling for that signing for about 6-7 months. Not too sure if it's something that we might pull off. But Thomas Frank has been speaking about the January transfer window. And if we're an attractive club to join, he said we're very attractive in many ways. Spurs is a fantastic club with huge potential. I think some of the boxes you tick are the stadium, the training ground, and the potential. Of course, if we compete against the 3 teams that are clearly ahead of us, City, Arsenal, and Liverpool, unfortunately, those clubs are probably more attractive right now. That's not to say we can't attract some of the players that also want to go to those clubs. It depends a little bit if there's a spot available for the player to play in those clubs and here. I get that. I understand that. I think it's sensible in what he's saying. But we can look at, quite famously, I guess, Anton Semenyo had the opportunity to come to Tottenham. We were going to break our wage structure to bring him in. He would start, I would have said, every single week. He's going to go to Manchester City, where he's not going to start every single week. So we are not an attractive option currently for someone like Anton Semenyo. So who are we an attractive option for? I think we're an attractive option for young, promising players again, potentially to use us as a stepping stone to move on to bigger clubs. You look at Gareth Bale, Luka Modric, maybe Harry Kane as well. They've all moved on and done big success. Kyle Walker as well. All moved on and gone on to greater success than they had at Tottenham. Used this platform to move on. Are we seen like that for a number of players? Maybe Sousa at Santos sees us as an attractive option to play as trade to then move into the bigger clubs into Europe. I also see us as a potential attractive option for players that are currently not playing first team football at their clubs now in a World Cup year and could see Tottenham as somewhere that I could go there and I could start pretty much every week and show my international manager that I need to play at this World Cup, because the World Cup is huge for these players. Obviously, it only comes around every 4 years. Someone like Savinho that we've been heavily linked with a lot in the past, could get a number of could get a lot of minutes at Tottenham. Does that come off? Is that a option? I'm not sure. There was a slight rumor this morning I'd seen. Not sure how much truth to that is, that Omar Marmoush might be open to a loan move. I don't see that happening personally. I'm not sure if we're going to bring in a big name in the January transfer market. Adaloma, easy for me to say. Lookman ticks a lot of my boxes. I don't think he's going to be very expensive. He's got some Premier League experience. Obviously, he was born in London. African Player of the Year, won the Europa Cup. Potentially could go and win the AFCON. Has developed massively in Italy at Atalanta. Has played in the Champions League. I think he offers versatility there that we need as well. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks. Again, Thomas Frank speaking about Vinay yesterday. A lot of comments from Thomas Frank about Vinay publicly, but not a lot coming from Vinay now, where he did say that he would provide monthly updates. That has stopped. Thomas Frank was speaking about the CEO, Vinay Venkatesham. He said, Vinay is one of the best communicators I've ever met as a CEO, leader, whatever. He is absolutely excellent in that. I think I'm okay, but he is way superior, which I think is critical internally and externally. He's calm and takes sensible decisions. Two rare abilities in football, but two absolutely critical abilities if you want to have success long term. So again, he is adamant that the club cannot let him go now because we won't have long-term success. And I understand that. We can only look at Vinay Venkatesham in terms of his history with managers and what he did or was part of at Arsenal with Mikel Arteta, gave patience, and they're reaping those rewards. Is this something that is going to happen at Tottenham? He also went on to say Vinay is critical for Tottenham to have success in many ways. We have known each other for 6 months, so we're getting closer and closer and each know each other better and better. I would say I'm calm, but a tiny bit more emotional at times, so we learn about each other as well. Besides being smart and taking sensible decisions, Vinay also has that huge experience of 10 years at Arsenal and how they were built. Is Vinay trying to replicate what he did or was part of at Arsenal here at Tottenham? Potentially so. I think Thomas Frank is being told that he's going to get this patience, going to get back in. Let's just hope that the results now start coming, because we are struggling, and as I say, recruitment is massively needed. But looking at some of the outgoings over the last couple of days, Yang has returned from Portsmouth. He's now going to Championship leaders Coventry, where he's potentially going to be getting a little bit more game time. Didn't get a huge amount at Portsmouth. When he did, he's very, very good and well liked there. George Abbott has returned from Wickham due to injury. Not sure if he will head back out in the January transfer window. Jamie Donnelly, though, has returned from Stoke. Wasn't getting a huge amount of game time there. He will now join up with Will Lancashire at Oxford. I'll be off to see both of them hopefully play on Friday at MK Dons in the FA Cup. Looking forward to that. Alfie Donnelly has returned from Aberdeen. I'm sure he'll be likely to move out again on loan. And Kota Takai has joined German side Borussia Mönchengladbach. I think that's a very good move for him. Very similar to Luka Vuskovic. Give them both time to play more. Physicality of the German league is quite similar to England. Not as quick as England, but it's still very quick. I think that's a really good move for Kota Takai. I think that him going there allows the club to look at him ready for next season. Is he going to be part of the first team squad, or are they going to move him on? So I definitely believe Luka Vuskovic will probably be part of the first team squad next season. As I say, Sousa from Santos seems to be the only sort of concrete interest we have at the moment. There's a lot of names flying around. But I just think their names being thrown out there because it's Tottenham and we need recruitment. Until we get concrete evidence of bids being rejected, etc., I'm not sure where things are heading. Definitely need 2 players attacking, probably a ball carrying number 8 as well. If we could get all of that and a left back, that is a fantastic January transfer window. But I'd be very interested to hear what people think in the comments. Are we an attractive club to join? As I said a minute ago, I think we are for young players coming from the continent and from South America, where they can ply their trade in England in a very, very good competitive league, potentially use the club as a stepping stone, which I don't like, but I think the reality of that might be where we are at the moment. And equally, we are or could be quite attractive to players that aren't necessarily getting the game time that they need in this World Cup year. I think Brennan Johnson is partly one of the reasons he moved to Crystal Palace. He was going to get game time, and he obviously paid straight away when he moved. And so we can offer that in wide areas. But I'd like to know what you think. Are we still an attractive side to join? Obviously, we have a fantastic stadium and training ground, but we can't keep using that as the attraction. We need to start showing it on the pitch and success. Obviously, we had great success last year in the Europa League, but I don't see a huge amount of progression at the moment. But yeah, let me know what you think in these comments. Very interested to know if and when further transfer updates come. I will let you know. There is our email address going across the screen now. If you would like to be a part of a future episode of Project Spurs, we try to do post-game reactions whenever we can, and we do definitely bring out some transfer updates, videos like this as well. So if you ever want to send in your comments, you're more than welcome to. We'll put them on here if you'd like to video yourself, or I can answer them through texts as well. So yeah, we'd love to welcome as many people onto Project Spurs as possible. Let's hope tonight is a positive result and we win. I think we might scrape a win. I think it's going to be one of those. I think it might be Crystal Palace all over again. It's going to be not a great watch, but we might just sneak a win in. So hopefully that happens. And then next week we start bringing in some real quality to help this side. Because I think with the players we're using at the moment, your Tells, your Odebergs, etc., they're good squad players to come in and develop and get impact of where they are at the moment. I don't think they're starters that can affect us in a huge amount, but I don't want either of them to leave the clubs. I think they have got good potential, but we need some quality, proven quality at that in. So yeah, let me know on January transfer windows your hopes and wishes as well. And yeah, let's hope for 3 points tonight.
Oh, the streets are cold and gray, but the fire in our hearts won't